Well, prosecutors have charged 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse with murder. 2 people were shot during the riots this week. One of the people who was there right at the scene, in fact, no one was closer, was Richie McGinnis of the Daily Caller. Richie McGinnis was almost hit by a gunshot at one point. He was a critical witness to what has become a very controversial crime. He joins us tonight for details on what he saw. Richie, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
So, we spoke to you the other day, but didn't quite understand just how close you were to this shooting. It turns out there may have been gunshots fired before the one that killed Joseph Rosenberg. Tell us what you saw.
Well, Tucker, I was just about 10 or 12 feet behind them as they ran into the parking lot. And what I saw was Rosenbaum pursuing Rittenhouse, and Rittenhouse turned around. Now, right before he turned around, I'm not sure if this was a reason why he turned around, but there was a gunshot, and that's actually visible on video. It's not clear whether or not that gunshot was fired into the air or towards Rittenhouse, but Rittenhouse did turn around immediately after that. And at that point, he went from running away to aiming his weapon at Rosenbaum, and I was actually directly behind Rosenbaum. So I took 1 or 2 steps to my right as Rosenbaum was lunging for the barrel of the rifle, and he was that close to him. And Rittenhouse actually took the barrel of the rifle and just dodged around. And at that point, as Rosenbaum was falling forward, he fired quickly 4 shots into Rosenbaum. And at that point, I was only about 12, maybe 15 feet behind them, and I saw Rosenbaum fall to the ground. And at that point, my concern, as I saw Rittenhouse run away, was to provide whatever aid I could to the man who I just saw gravely injured directly in front of me. But what I didn't realize until after, when I reviewed the video footage, is that when Rittenhouse ran away, he actually ran around the car and back up behind me. And I was kneeled on the ground over Rosenbaum. He was face down, and I was preparing to find out where the bullet holes were when a pair of legs arrived next to me, and I just saw the legs. I didn't see anything else. And I said, "What are you doing? Call 911." And I saw that individual grab the phone and put it up to their head. And I only found out later that that was actually Rittenhouse himself, who had just shot Rosenbaum. And soon after that, he ran away, and a bunch of other individuals arrived. We did our best to plug whatever wounds we saw, and somebody said that the hospital was just across the street. So I slung Rosenbaum's arm over my shoulder, his right arm. Another individual took his left, and then some others took his legs, and one other man was holding my shirt actually on his head. And we took him to the hospital as quickly as we could.
And he died.
And he died.
But shots were fired before Rittenhouse fired. The guy he shot was trying to pull his gun out of his hands. And then we learn that another man he shot in the arm had a handgun in his hand running at him with the gun in his hand. Has that man been charged for attempted murder, do you know?
Not that I know of, Tucker, but I did see that man actually in the hospital. Shortly after I arrived, he came through the emergency room waiting room with a couple of police officers, and I saw his arm. And obviously, you can take a look at the damage. I won't describe it on television, but it was gruesome.
Yeah. There's a lot about this story that bears no resemblance whatsoever to the story that we're reading in the newspapers. And since you are, to my knowledge, the most knowledgeable person about what happened, since we're standing right there, I'm grateful that you came on tonight. Richard McGinnis, thank you from the Daily
Caller.